So welcome everyone to today's deep dive. We're unpacking a really practical and I think highly effective guide today.
Yeah, it's all about how to train your brain to speak in English.
Yeah.
And this one is specifically tailored for English learners, so we're going to keep things really clear and accessible today.
Exactly. And I want to start by asking you, the listener, a question. Have you ever, studied all the grammar rules for months and memorized all the vocabulary and listened to countless lessons?
Oh, I know where this is going.
Right. And then you step up to the counter to order just a simple cup of coffee in English. You open your mouth and nothing. Just total blank.
It is the worst feeling.
It really is. Your brain just completely betrays you. So today, our mission is to explore exactly why your brain freezes in those moments and, much more importantly, how we can actually fix it.
Yeah, because it is a universally terrible feeling. I mean, you know the English words are stored somewhere in your memory, right?
They're in there somewhere.
But they just refuse to come out when you actually need them. And the reason for this freezing is something the guide calls the translation trap.
The translation trap. I mean, that perfectly describes it. It's like this mental prison we build for ourselves.
It really is.
So let's break down the mechanics of this trap. What is actually happening inside our heads when we freeze at the coffee shop?
Well, when you fall into this trap, you're basically forcing your brain to do too many complex jobs at the exact same time. First, you think of the concept in your native language.
Right.
Second, you frantically search for the English translation of those words. Third, you stop to check the grammar. Like, wait, am I using the past tense? Is this word plural?
And then, on top of all that, you start stressing about your pronunciation.
Exactly.
So by the time you finally push out one slow sentence, your brain is just absolutely exhausted.
Precisely. You're putting this enormous load on your mind. I mean, the human brain simply cannot process that many complex conscious tasks at once without slowing down.
It's just too much work.
Yeah, and that intense mental fatigue leads straight to panic. And, a panicking brain just shuts down communication completely.
It's like trying to run 5 heavy computer programs at the same time. The system just crashes.
That is a great way to put it. It's a total system crash.
So the goal of our conversation today is to bypass that crash completely. We're going to explore how to stop translating and make speaking English a natural, automatic habit. And we're going to do it using just 3 small daily steps.
Yeah, and that word automatic, that's really the foundation of everything we're going to talk about. To bypass the mental overload, speaking has to become an automatic habit, something you do without actively thinking about it.
The source material has this really great analogy for this. Walking.
Oh, yes.
When we walk down the street, we don't think, lift the left foot, bend the knee, put down the right foot. We just walk.
Right, it's automatic.
But I do have to ask, I mean, walking is a physical action we've done since we were toddlers. Can a learned second language actually become as automatic as walking?
It can. Yes, because speaking a language isn't just about, knowing a list of rules from a textbook. It's actually a physical and mental habit.
Okay.
And habits are formed through neural pathways in the brain. The brain literally needs daily exercise to build those pathways.
Let's visualize those pathways for a second. I like to think of it like walking through a wide, empty field that's just covered in deep snow.
I like this.
Yeah, so the very first time you try to form an English sentence by translating, it is incredibly difficult. You're pushing through this deep, heavy snow. It's slow, and you get exhausted.
That is a brilliant way to picture it. Yeah, that first trip across the field is slow because the brain is building the path from scratch.
Right. But if you take that exact same path every single day, you start to pack the snow down.
Exactly.
And eventually, after enough days, you create the smooth, hard trail. You can just run across it without even looking at your feet. And that is what automatic means in the brain.
And to reassure the listener here, to pack that snow down, to build that smooth mental trail, you do not need to study grammar for 2 hours a day.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. In fact, the sources emphasize that studying for 2 hours once a week is highly ineffective. Small, consistent practice always beats massive, infrequent effort.
So we are talking about just 10 to 15 minutes a day.
That's it, just 10 to 15 minutes. The brain really thrives on regular short bursts of activity. It's like brushing your teeth.
Yeah, you do it a little bit every morning and it just becomes a permanent part of your routine.
Exactly. 15 minutes a day of focused practice will pack down that snowy trail much faster than some massive weekend study session.
Okay, so how do we actually build this 15-minute habit? If translating is overloading the brain, we have to start from the inside out to break that habit. And that leads us to step 1, thinking in small English sentences.
This is where we begin rewiring the brain. And it starts with simply looking at your environment and silently naming things in English.
Now, I have to push back a little here. When I first read this in the guide, I thought it sounded, well, far too basic.
It does sound basic, yeah.
The advice is to literally just look around your room and silently think the word table or chair or phone. Can just naming random objects in my room really help me become fluent?
I know, it feels overly simple. But let's look at why it works. This step is entirely about direct connection. It's about bypassing that translation trap.
Ah, okay, so we're cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. Usually when you try to speak, you fire this three-stop neural pathway.
Yeah.
Stop 1, you see the table. Stop 2, you think the word in your first language. Stop 3, you translate it to the English word table.
And that takes a lot of time and energy.
Right. But by looking directly at the table and only thinking the English word, you force a two-stop pathway. Object directly to English. You are entirely skipping your first language.
That makes total sense. You're connecting English directly to real things. You're packing down a shorter path in the snow.
Yes. And of course, you don't just stay at single words forever. You scale it up slightly as you go.
Right. You move from just table to something like, this is my table.
Exactly. And a great way to do this is to connect it to your daily morning routine.
Oh, yeah, like right when you wake up.
Yeah. You just describe your actions silently in your head. I wake up. I'm sleepy. I walk to the kitchen. I drink coffee.
That is so practical.
Yeah.
Because you're turning your real everyday life into your English lesson.
And you're doing it without the fatigue of translation. You're building an English brain naturally.
Okay, so we're starting to think in small sentences. But eventually, our brain is going to need more fuel, right? Like more examples of how to actually put words together.
Yes, absolutely.
And that brings us to step 2, listening.
The fuel for the brain.
But wait, I have a question about this, because I always thought that to get better at something, you had to challenge yourself with really difficult material.
The whole no pain, no gain idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, shouldn't I be watching fast-paced movies or, complex news broadcasts to really force my brain to learn?
It's a really common assumption, but the source text actually corrects this. If the English you're listening to is too fast or too difficult, your brain just panics.
It goes back to that system crash we talked about.
Exactly. It gets tired, it gets overwhelmed, and it basically just says help and shuts down. A relaxed, happy brain learns so much better.
Okay, so if fast movies cause panic, what should the listener be focusing on?
You should focus on what we call easy English. So things like beginner podcasts, simple stories, or YouTube videos where the speaker is talking slowly and clearly.
And just for about 5 to 10 minutes a day?
Yep, 5 to 10 minutes. The goal here is just to absorb sentence patterns.
Sentence patterns, like what, for example?
Things like I am, I want, I need, I'm going to.
Oh, I see. Like, I want a coffee or I want to go home.
Exactly. This kind of input gives the brain examples of how the language works. And that makes output, which is speaking, much, much easier.
Because you're not building the sentence from scratch every time. You already have the pattern.
Right. And there is one crucial piece of advice for this step. Do not worry about understanding every single word you hear.
Really? I feel like my instinct would be to pause and look up every word I don't know in a dictionary.
Don't do it. If you do that, you ruin the relaxed state. Just aim for the main idea. If you get the general meaning, your brain is doing the work unconsciously.
Okay, so we have the internal thoughts from step 1, and we have the fuel from listening in step 2. But to actually speak, our physical mouths need practice.
Yes, they do.
And this is step 3, speaking out loud every day.
This is a vital point from the sources. Reading and listening are great, but speaking needs speaking. Silent study is simply not enough.
Because it's actually a physical activity, right? Like your tongue and your mouth have to make new shapes.
Exactly. You are training physical muscles. But I know what you're going to ask next.
Yeah, what if I don't have a speaking partner? I mean, a lot of listeners might be starting alone in their bedrooms.
The source has a fantastic solution for this. You just talk to yourself.
Talk to yourself. I love that.
It might feel a little silly at first, but it works. You can do it in your bedroom, or honestly, a very common practice space is the shower.
The shower. That's actually perfect. It's private, you're relaxed, there's no pressure. So what are we supposed to say while we're in the shower?
You just describe things out loud. You look around and say, the water is warm, my towel is blue. Or you narrate your day. Today I woke up early, I ate breakfast.
Just getting those mouth muscles moving in a totally safe space.
Exactly. No one is judging you.
Okay, but let's talk about troubleshooting. Because let's be real, you're doing your daily practice, you step out into the real world, and inevitably, you're going to hit a roadblock.
Oh, it happens to everyone.
What happens when you forget a word in the middle of a sentence or you just mess up? Because that's when the panic usually sets in.
Right. And the source has this fantastic trick for forgotten words. If you forget a word, do not panic. Just explain the word using the simple English you do know.
Okay, give me an example.
So let's say you forget the word umbrella. Instead of freezing, you just say, the thing I use when it rains.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the thing I use when it rains. Anyone would understand that.
Exactly. Or if you forget the word refrigerator, you just say, the cold box for food.
The cold box for food. That is brilliant. It's funny, but it's brilliant. I mean, it's just so freeing.
It really is. Or if you forget wallet, you say, the small thing for money.
It really proves that communication is way more important than perfection. If you say cold box for food, the other person knows exactly what you mean. You successfully communicated.
Exactly. And this leads right into the topic of mistakes. We have to remind the listener that mistakes are not bad.
Right, they're not failures.
No. They are proof that your brain is trying. They're proof you are building those new pathways. So if you accidentally say, I go to work, just calmly correct it to, I go to work, and keep going.
Don't apologize, just step over it and keep walking.
Yes. Because mistakes are not the enemy here. Fear is the enemy.
Fear is the enemy.
If fear of making a mistake stops you from speaking, you can never improve. You just have to be brave enough to sound like a beginner for a little while.
That is such a huge perspective shift. So let's bring it all together for the listener. This highly actionable daily training plan from the source is just 15 minutes a day.
Yep, just 15 minutes.
5 minutes of easy listening, 5 minutes of thinking in small sentences silently, and 5 minutes of speaking out loud to yourself.
It is entirely manageable. Small, consistent practice.
And the best part is, you don't need a fancy language school. We really want to remind you, the listener, that your normal daily life is the best English classroom you have.
Absolutely. You don't need perfect English to start. You just need to start.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder today. We've talked a lot about slowing down, looking around your room, and actively describing the ordinary things around you in simple English. So think about this. If you spend 15 minutes a day doing that, how might this beginner's mindset actually change the way you observe and appreciate the small, beautiful details of your daily life, even outside of language learning?
That's a really lovely thought.
It makes you look at the world a little differently, doesn't it? Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Keep practicing, keep making mistakes, and we'll catch you next time.